Hello everybody, I'm Colin Baker, the 6th Doctor, and you are so lucky, because you are watching the Omega Files, and I'm in it at the moment, but the next bit isn't me, it's something even better.
Yes.
Oh, the pirate planets.
What a
Yes, planet.
Doctor Who fan films. Always usually with a white male doctor. I just realised something there. If they had a female doctor and she was hot, that would mean that I would probably be in a sort of cosmic
trance,
time-wimey, horny paradox. It would change everything, wouldn't it, in some ways? It's hard to change some sort of dynamic. Oh, fuck yeah.
Motorboat. Dude. They used a cutscene too. That was one of the deleted scenes off the DVD. But come on, they had to come up with some new effects.
Those gun special effects, really, even for 1978, looked a bit lame, to be honest.
But you know what amazed me more than anything? The captain must have been hiring, these guys from the Empire, because they had about the same accuracy with their weapons as a freaking stormtrooper.
Shit.
Meanwhile, the village people who've never fought for a thing in their life are picking these guns up and picking these guys off with like one shot. And meanwhile, the big bad experience, evil helmeted guards can't hit anything. It's like, oh.
Maybe that's what Douglas Adams got his inspiration from.
Maybe it's their helmets that can't see good.
That's the only I can figure out. We'll also go ahead and get started. The Pirate Planet, written by Douglas Adams, who at around that same time was working on the, remember it was the radio show for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay, let's go ahead and bounce around, get hellos from everybody. Let's start with Matt.
Hello.
And let's run out over to William.
Hey now.
David Aston.
Hello there, I am the Straight Edge Whovian. Thank you for having me yet again on the Omega Files.
All right, Philip.
Hey there, everybody.
And joining us, Elijah.
Hello.
Neo.
Hello.
Nightwing.
Oh.
And Tim, if he's there, he might be out on a call. He might have customers. Okay, so the Pirate Planet, 1978, second part to the Key to Time series. Yes, the planet Zanuck. It's a great place to visit if you can find it, because it's out running around the neighborhood shooting up other planets. It's almost like a recycling Death Star when you think about it. It doesn't just blow the planet up. It mines it for what's left. All right, let's run around and get opening thoughts from everybody. Let's start with David Aston. Opening thoughts on the Pirate Planet.
The Pirate Planet. So this is the second story in the Key to Time, which was broadcast, I think, either before or after I was born. So this is the year 1978 that I was born in. And essentially, they land on the planet which Dr. Freeman has mentioned. And their traitor, which they use to find each piece of the key to time, which is essentially like the Unimatrix thing in Transformers, the movie, goes wild. So they're sort of caught up in one of those sort of Doctor Who planets where knowledge and questioning authority is strictly forbidden. And it's by Douglas Adams. Curiously enough, according to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Douglas Adams was a bipedal writer who, in between getting drunk at his nearest pub, would write science fiction scripts for Doctor Who. And this was before he became the script editor of Doctor Who. This is the Graham Williams era of Doctor Who. So you have this captain, essentially sort of like a sci-fi version of Treasure Island, a sort of remnant of the Hinckliffe years when they would use classic novels or movies and do their own sort of version of it. And he's got Mr. Phillip, who's like a smee to his Captain Long John Silver, or the Peter Pan, Peter Pan, the captain from that, Captain Hook, and he seems to have a tendency to sort of shout a lot at Mr. Phillip. And he's got this parrot, electronic parrot, again similar to Treasure Island, who basically, if he's displeased with you, will dispatch you by having this parrot fly off and shoot you. And also there's these psychic beings, a sort of female, a male version of the Sisterhood of Khan, who have psychic powers that have been a thorn in the side of the captain for years. And he's using this planet killer technology, basically. He's got his setup is basically a bit like the TARDIS. He doesn't travel in time and space, but he can hop in space. Something which is actually a hallmark of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And the Doctor, early on in the story, has some suspicions that something horrible is going on. Just like the Death Star from Star Wars, it's wiping out entire planets. One of the cliffhangers, when he's facing this tribe of psychics, is a brilliant sort of close-up shot. I think it's part 2, I believe, when they've just finally realised why the whole planet is so cold. And it's a bit of a strange story because it's very comedic, and it's sort of muddled in some ways. It's comedic, sort of hallmarks of what would become his big success, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And also there's some brilliant sci-fi concepts which are completely ruined because obviously the budgets can't stretch that far enough. And then there's also the simple fact that odd enough, there's a morality. There's a brilliant scene between the Fourth Doctor, played wonderfully by Tom Baker, and the Captain, where the Captain has all the past planets that he's been destroying sort of suspended using technology, which means they're sort of compressed. It's very complicated. And he basically lectures him in a way that the First Doctor would have done in the past, or the Third Doctor would have done, and the Sixth Doctor will do in Trial of a Time Lord himself, lambasting his people, being worse basically than the Cybermen or Daleks, morally wise. And it is such a good story. There's some hilarious bits about it. The fact that anything, even jelly babies, will get you sort of in trouble with the guards, who have lovely costumes, really good costumes. As Dr. Freeman was showing us earlier, new special effects added to this. The one thing that let these soldiers down was their crappy effects, but they've actually redone it on YouTube. I think this is one of the stronger installments. But the great thing about this story is that actually there are many twists. The captain has one hell of a trump card twist in his. He's actually the pawn of somebody else, and some wonderful idea of the Queen, who's like. I won't go in too deeply because that would spoil it. But there's a big twist with this Queen, which explains precisely the reason behind all this planet killing, which is a bit like I mentioned before, Transformers, the movie, where not Galvatron, no, it's Galvatron's the leader of the Decepticons being reconstituted by this planet killer, a bit like. The Silver oh bloody! I can't. Oh,
Unicron, yeah.
Yeah, Unicron is basically like the master of the Silver Surfer. All the same thing, really. They go around destroying planets and eating them, and that's essentially what this story is. It's like a mystery, really. It's like a sort of Agatha Christie mystery in a sort of way. But by the end of the story, it really does reward the viewers. It's such a good story. But there are times when you get the hint of Douglas Adams' inability to sort of control his own sort of narrative and ideas. It's just the face-off between K9 and the parrot. Electronic Parrot is a highlight, and actually rather good. So, sorry for rambling, but there's so much in his story that's so good. Even the bit with the old git who's warning his daughter not to question, and there's this wonderful weird line where she goes, why? I have a feeling that the cast might have been a little bit overwhelmed by the eccentricity of Douglas Adams' script, or was he taking a piss out of Doctor Who itself? Because it's a bit of a cliche. Doctor ends up on a planet that needs saving, blah 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 blah. But in terms of female characters, the Queen turns out to be almost a match for the Doctor. Some very good concepts, limited by 1970s TV budgets, but a hallmark of how Douglas Adams would actually be the very best of sci-fi concepts in Doctor Who. And I'm going to shut up. That's the way it goes. And just one more thing. He actually mentions Don't Panic.
Oh, yes. He does mention Don't Panic. Plus, there was a scene in there where he's lecturing a guard, and it's basically the same sequence right out of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where he's, telling about how boring, depressing his job must be and whatnot. Yeah. You can tell when you watch this that he was also writing Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy at the same time, because you see a lot of things that are familiar. Okay, opening thoughts. Let's go to Matt. Matt, go ahead.
Oh, hell, sorry, just eating happily. I truly like the story. I'm sorry, just chew me happily. Yeah, I really like the Pirate Planet. I saw it when it aired on UK Gold back in the day, and I just loved it. Mary Tam as Romana is just great. I've always truly loved this TARDIS team because The Key to Time is a really good arc, and I did like the pirate captain. He's just a great villain in the story, and what I liked about it is with this arc, it's written by Douglas Adams, who is massively known for writing Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I think David's covered a lot, so I'm not going to ramble here, or else we'll be here until 2016. All in all, it's a good story. If you're a fan of the Doctor, Romana, and K9, and if you're carrying on the quest to the Key to Time, you will truly enjoy this, and it's a really good story.
Okay, next up, Neo. Opening thoughts on the Pirate Planet.
All I can really say is that this is better than the Reboss or the Reboss operation. I really like this one. I loved I love the whole I love the pirate guy. I love the pirate guy. I love that little parrot he had. I was actually surprised about the twist because I really thought he was the one kicking butt and doing all the evil stuff. And then when I saw the twist, I was like, oh man. But then I said, oh wait, yeah. Then it clicked into my head, yeah, that would be the right. That would, it's a matter of fact thing. But overall, I was actually surprised by this one. I thought it was going to be another Reboss, So I like this one. Can't wait for the next one.
Okay, let's pass it on over to Philip Archer. Opening thoughts.
Opening thoughts. I like the story. Like Neo said, it's better than a Rebus operation. I particularly like the idea of the switch of the revelation of who's behind the whole operation of Rebus operation. I mean of Pirate Planet, which is Queen Xantia, and it kind of surprised me that no one's come across that hidden room where her body is. No one realized it's been there all this time, and the segment where Romana actually shoots someone for the first time in her life, in her Time Lord life, which is quite interesting for me to see her shoot someone for the first time. And it's a good story, and what can I say? I enjoyed it.
Okay, next up, Nightwing. Opening thoughts. Okay, he's not available. Let's jump on over to Texas Tim.
My opening thoughts would be that when I first saw this back in the day on the PBS stations, I didn't really care for this one nearly as much as I did the rest of the series that year, this season. But now that a few years have passed, and I watched it again last weekend, and I've seen it several times in between. I really like it a lot. It's really good. It's really funny when it needs to be. It really kind of sets up the whole Douglas Adams run as script editor for the following year. I mean, just outrageous concepts, outrageous ideas that the budget isn't there, but they do follow through with it, and it's really good. I like everybody said so far, the twist at the end. With the queen being the villain and the pirate captain just being, her workhorse or whatever. But yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot.
Okay, opening thoughts, Elijah.
Like everybody said, great story. I particularly enjoyed the sets for what they had with the budget. I mean, the guns. I mean, I can understand the budget back then, but yeah, overall great story. It was kind of like the Reboss operation was just starting to build it up, and this was getting more traction. So yeah, I really like this one.
All righty. Next up, let's go on over to William.
This one, yes, is much better than the last story. The only question I would like to have seen is how the captain became the way he looks. Was it an injury or was it all creation by Xantia? But overall, the story was funny and it was great from the first episode all the way to the last episode. And I can't wait to see the other parts.
Yeah, if you get a chance, pick up the DVD, especially the info track on it. It's really informative. There was a lot of things that got cut because of time. Like one of the things they did cover was the fact that, the captain had been the survivor of a crashed vessel. Mr. Fibule, as a matter of fact, was supposed to find out that he was the great-grandson of the first mate of the vessel. And that's why he knew him so well and he knew how everything about the ship. And that's also why he liked Mr. Fibule so much, because he reminded him of that particular crew member. Fortunately, that's one of the things that got left by the wayside. Okay, high points. Let's run around and ask everyone what their favorite parts of the episode were. Let's start with Elijah this time. What's your favorite parts of this episode?
My favorite parts were the yelling of the captain. It got annoying at times, but that was one of the high parts. And when I liked the bird, how it'd come in and attack. But yeah, I just thought it was so funny the way he would scream. Yeah.
I know, Mr. Fibulae! By the bearded nose of the sky demon, or something like that, or the other he'd shout. Yeah, I love that part. Okay. Nightwing, since you weren't here a minute ago, opening thoughts and throw us, what was your favorite part of this episode?
I agree with a lot of the others that this was better than Rebus Operation. I think it moved better. You know, it went through the thing quicker, in my opinion, than Rebus Operation did. Maybe because it had a better theme instead of, you know, being more medieval and more into like the pirates and more into like the maybe that's probably why, or maybe it's just the story writing, I don't know, but it was better than Rebus Operation, and the characters were brilliant, you know, especially the captain. And he was absolutely violent. He was like the best character ever. I liked my favorite scene would have to be probably K9 versus the parrot. You know, K9 actually had a challenge. You know, because the parrot was like a menace. Like he was like his captain basically. He was like a bird, you know, a bird robot version of the captain. It was really quite. The setting was really cool. Like it was based off the town or the city or whatever it was. It looked like a Greek island type thing. So it was I liked this one was much better in my opinion than Rebus Operation.
Yeah, this one flowed a lot better, had a lot faster pace to it. Avatron's head was designed based off a Trojan warrior's helmet, but was it just me or did he have the whole Boba Fett thing logo on there? But okay, Texas Tim, or he just left on his head. All right, let's bounce on over to William. Favorite parts of this episode?
The doctor using the jelly babies to steal a vehicle. The Mentiats, the psychic powers was with the results of all the planets being destroyed. The battle with K9 with the bird. That stuck out. And then also the ending that nobody the doctor didn't get the key to stone. It blew out into space. He has to look for it again.
I know, interesting bit there. I think they factored that into one of the Big Finish audios, where they were on the key to time thing with Mary Tan. I can't remember which one it was though. Antimatter. The Antimatter is that one. All right, let's bounce on down to Texas Tim. What was your favorite parts of this episode?
Pretty much the doctor, the way he, you know, just walks in and does what he wants and pretty much gets to the bottom of the mystery pretty quickly. Well, not really pretty quickly. It's actually by episode 3. But, and his rapport with Mary Tam and, excuse me.
That happens all the time, man. Tim's a busy guy. All right, let's jump on over to Neo.
I like the part at the beginning when the doctor was asking all the questions or trying to get people's attention, and he was like, "Well, why nobody's paying attention to me, K9? Well, she's better at it, and because she's a woman." Oh, I mean, that part I was backing up because he was so jealous. The doctor was so angry. I thought that was so cool. I do like the part where he was using the jelly babies. I think he did that twice, but I think the second time he got caught, or was it the third time he got caught? But I like how he was using the same method, and he almost got away with it, though. That was cool.
I know. It's the mistress is much prettier than you. That's why.
Yes. That was awesome.
All right. Let's jump on over to Matt Rose.
Hello. A favorite part for me was well, Neo just said it. I liked the beginning bit with Mary Tam and the Doctor and Tom Baker when they've just arrived, and they're trying to ask the locals for information, and the Doctor just gets blanked, and Kanan's like, "Oh, she's pretty. Romana's prettier than him." I did laugh at that, and how she stole the jelly babies from his pocket without him noticing. I did laugh at that. I also did like the scenes with the pirate captain. It was like Captain Hook shouting "Mr. Smee" a lot. It just made me laugh when he kept doing all that shouting. I did find the ending when they lost the key a bit surprising as well, and like you said, antimatter does resolve that.
Okay, let's jump to Tim real quick while he's back.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. It's just, you know, the whole new setup with the show.
Uh-oh, now I think he froze up. Okay, we'll get back to Tim. Let's jump on over to David Aston.
Sorry, man, I froze there. Sorry.
That's okay, it happens. So that was about it? All right.
Yeah.
Let's jump to David Aston.
Yes, so yeah, there's so many things in this episode that there's one bit at the end where it's like they need a cable or something. There's a problem, you know, they're trying to get past this barrier. Yeah, sort of cable or something, and it's like Douglas Adams is sort of perfectly took the piss out of sort of, you know, that sort of old cliche, because within a second they've got a solution to it. Also, I don't know, just I just love the interplay between Romana and the Doctor, and also basically just the captain always going, when he's going, failed, 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 and the concepts that he's got in this episode are so interesting and so fascinating. And also one of the cliffhangers where, you know, he's literally walking the plank. I find it a bit, it's almost like an omen to Logopolis, you know, the way he falls to his death. Because I'd watched the episode before, but I couldn't understand how you could get out of the, you know, cliffhanger. And it's such an ingenious idea. And, you know, the Queen is really one hell of an adversary to the Doctor. You know, it's just, there's so many good things about the story. You know, it's, and having a blooming speedboat as this technology, you know, that's kind of the only thing that annoyed me, was the sort of low budget. But yeah, brilliant story. Well worth, you know, getting individually or as part of Key to Time box set.
Yeah, get the box set. It is definitely worth the money. I've been really enjoying it. All the little background parts and all that. And plus, you know, you can flip on that little info tracks and the text pops up on the bottom, tells you different things about the episodes. Really enjoyable stuff. Like there was supposed to be a scene in there where Romana described the engine room of the Mountain, reminding her of a Type F TARDIS. And like I said, unfortunately, that didn't make it in. Like I said, all the stuff about the background of the captain and Mr. Fibuli, that didn't make it in either, because they had to cut this down to a 25-minute serial every week. And, you know, they literally, you know, Douglas had originally written this, and he handed it in as a script, I think it was in 1977. And he stated that originally it was supposed to be an evil renegade Time Lord who'd done this with this planet. And that's how he had the technology to pull it off, was he was using TARDIS engines and all that to do this. But,
hence the reason why it's got dematerialization technology.
Yeah, unfortunately, that all got left by the wayside, and you know, but the part of the planet that remained. So he went ahead and he resubmitted this as a script for the Key to Time series, and it got approved, you know, in the format we saw it now. But like I said, unfortunately, a lot of things still got cut though due to time. Okay, let's open up the floor. Any other favorite characters, bits, or parts that anyone, you know, we haven't mentioned yet you want to throw in? Okay, anybody?
I have something to pick up on.
Okay, go ahead.
The engine room looked like what was it? That episode with Sarah Jane and Tom Baker. I forgot the episode name. We talked about it like an hour ago.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Hand of Fear.
Yeah. It either it's the same place or it just has like a really. It does like although maybe they've got clearance to film there back then. I don't know, but it looks a lot like that. You know, that scene from that episode. So you know, unless it's just me, but
can I just say that I'm Am I right in understanding that they were recorded out of order? Because in the earlier in the scene at the beginning of the episode 1, Tom Baker bashes his face on the console, which explains the scarring on his mouth in Reaper's operation. So that kind of caught my attention.
I think they were slightly out of order because the scenes he does in the Reboss operation with the Guardian, you can see the big swollen lip and scar and whatnot, whereas I think later in the episode it's not there. So that scene might have been filmed after this. I don't know.
Yeah, they wrote that in because what happened was Tom Baker, in one of his infamous tavern occurrences, was petting a dog, and the dog bit him on the face. And what happened was originally they tried to cover it over with makeup. Unfortunately, the makeup then in turn infected the wounds, making them even more visible. So that's why they had that scene in here where he bashes his face on the console to explain why he's got these big obvious scars on his lips.
Yeah, Tom Baker said it was a tiny little dog.
Yeah.
And he was a little bit over-friendly in petting it. The next thing he knows, he's bitten by this little upset dog.
Yeah, so it was a clever little scene there to explain why he's got these big welts on his mouth. All right. Anything else? Anyone? Floor is wide open.
I liked the segment where Queen Thanty and Tom Baker are going at each other, and she turns around and slaps him across the face. Pretty cool. I like that bit.
Yeah, I like how her character was. She's just there as this bland nurse in the background all the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, she's not too hard on the eyes, but how she ends up being the main villain, and you don't suspect that at all until they get to that part at the end.
Yeah, you only hear a quick mention of Queen Xanxia all the way at the beginning of the episode by the older fellow who is what do you call it? Now I forgot his name. Prelex's father. And he mentions about back in the days of Queen Xanxia, and little did you know that old crazy hag is still alive. She's hanging around in the time dams, and then I love that where the doctor confronts her and says, "Sorry, it's a pipe dream, lady. It ain't gonna work."
Yeah.
If you watch the little interviews and all that come with the DVD, she did actually slap the crap out of him. That was an actual slap. That wasn't a miss.
It's just that's the sort of idea of, to me, of strong female characters. One that is basically the real threat controlling the planet, and the fact that she's so hell-bent. She's been doing this all simply to keep whatever's suspending her in time, preventing her demise. That's the thing. She's suspended just before the last few seconds of her life and her demise, and she's willing to kill off whole planets. And he points out, I'm a dab hand at regeneration. Believe me, it won't work. And he points out that the whole plan won't work because the premise behind it is flawed. That's the sort of doctor that we've seen re-emerge in, Capaldi's doctor, someone who understands time and regeneration better than she does.
Also, if that was another part that got left, was the fact that they were supposed to explain that Queen Xanxia had found the captain and she rebuilt him using the medical center that was on I think it was named it was a really weird name for the ship, the Valetarius or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's how she was able to get control of him. Also, if you look really close, his left leg is wider, and so is the boot, because it's also his left leg is supposed to be cybernetic. But you never really got a good close look at it anyway. Plus, Bruce Purchase was just brilliant in this. Him doing the captain and all that, and you think he's the villain to this whole thing. And then at the last minute, they flip it on you. It turns out she's running the whole show, and she's got him on a remote control. It's like,
that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, I know.
Am I right in understanding that the Mentias, they only break out when each time the planet hops onto a planet and kills the population of that planet?
Yeah.
Is that right or wrong?
The doctor explains it that the combined mental force, or the energy that's released, is enough to blow open the neural passages of any latent telepath. So that's how that happens, how a Mentiad is created. And I thought it was an interesting concept, the telepathic gestalt. You've got this incredible group of guys who are literally taking the energy of these poor planets that have been wiped out and then turning it back on the people who did it. Really good story.
I think this is like a year after Star Wars, or 2 years, and there's this bit where Obi-Wan Kenobi senses all the people who've just been destroyed by the Death Star screaming out in terror. So maybe that's sort of inspired by that. They can sense the whole planet being destroyed, and it's the shock waves, sort of send basically a new psychic Mentyad into a sort of psychic fever overload.
And it was also nice to see Mary Tam fly the TARDIS properly.
After reading it for what, 30 minutes, he knew how to use it?
I had to say though, when there was psychic, I'm gonna call them psychic guys because that's what I think. When the psychic guys attacked the doctor, I honestly thought they were the bad guys. I was like, oh no, they killed him or they hurt him. And then later on when they said they actually hit him with good feelings, I was like, what?
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is that's the first cliffhanger, but then again in the second cliffhanger when they run into him in the mines, they end on a cliffhanger as if they are the bad guys or something. So it does leave you guessing until they explain it later,
Well, that's the shot that I love the most. It's just a wonderful final shot. It sort of sums up the Fourth Doctor so much. It's similar to the War Machines, where the First Doctor's literally standing up to one of the War Machines. That's one of those, just leaves it in your mind. It gives the Doctor some authority and importance.
Also, originally the Mentyads were supposed to have glowing green eyes, but unfortunately the effect that they would have needed to pull it off would have affected, I guess, other visual effects they were going to do in the series. They were supposed to wear these big, huge, weird-looking goggles that covered up their eyes, kind of like that. And if you get the video, they show the scene where they tried it out, and it just looks like freaking horrible. I'm glad they didn't do it.
kind of like what they did with Eldrad and the Professor from the Planet of Evil, right? Where they put something over the eyes.
Yeah.
And then they also tried it in Keeper of Traken, and oh my god, that was horrible. Oh man. Well, okay, we had interesting characters, interesting story. You got Chemos in there kicking butt. You got Mula, the rebellious daughter, and then you had the nurse played by Rosalind Lloyd, who smacks the crap out of the Doctor. Like I said, really enjoyable story. I just love watching this one over and over again. All right, I'm gonna leave the floor. Anything else before we go ahead and rate this sucker?
Yeah, I liked it when the Romana and the Doctor talked. He mentioned that she had one of them mentioned that they had the TARDIS for over 500 years already.
Yeah, like 523 years. He goes, you know how long I've been operating this TARDIS? And she looks at him, 523 years. Oh, really? Has it been that long? Yeah, I really enjoy the Key to Time series. It's always nice to go back and take a look on it. The one time we had Romana 1, unless you listen to Big Finish Audio, because Mary Tam did do a few of those before she passed. Yes. Also, I do strongly encourage, go out and get the DVD box set, because they had the interviews on there with like Bruce Purchase, who passed away in 2008, and they also had interviews with Mary Tam, who left us not too long ago. I think it was just last year, or it was the year before. And it's nice to see them on there talking about their experiences, because like one of the things they bring up was the fact that this was filmed at the Berkeley Nuclear Power Station, which means every night before they left, they had to get scanned by Geiger counters. And in some cases, you literally had to have your clothing run over, and you had to take a shower before you left because of the fact that, they were afraid of radiation buildup. And they said they had one incident happen where they were on their way out, and they put the Geiger counter up to one of the cameras, and I guess the Geiger counter started going off like mad. So they got really worried they were going to lose that whole day's footage out of that camera because it was going to wind up being thrown into a vault probably somewhere buried in cement. So... it's really fun watching this stuff and seeing how they did it. Okay. So one last time, anything else anyone wants to bring up?
It's a lot of outdoor filming, isn't there? With the walking down the hills and whatnot.
Also, yeah, a lot of this was filmed in Wales, by the way.
Yeah,
Yes.
it looks like Wales.
Yeah, a lot of this. As a matter of fact, the opening for the bridge was actual railway tunnel that was left unused for years, and all they did was they just put that one big piece of scenery over it. So if you look around the little fabricated scenery, you can tell this is a man-made stone, railway entrance. So
I noticed you say like a blooper that was in the episode is when the doctor's walking in the captain's ship to exit. He passes a fire extinguisher and a telephone.
yeah, I saw that today. A front rotary pulse telephone on the wall.
I also found it kind of strange that on the screen you see an image of the wheel thing or the mine where they're going down, and it's like they got that on another planet where it's an earthbound.
Yeah, it looks like a typical British or Welsh mining thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It reminded me of the Green Death. It looked like the same mine setup.
Probably was.
It probably was. You're right.
The only thing that kind of unsettled me about that mining thing, because if you look in the background, it looks very white, and they look like after a certain point, you can't really see a lot of scenery beyond that mining thing. It looks like it's either on a cliff or just the camera angle's a bit too weird to actually see behind or beyond a certain point. So it's kind of like, did they put this up temporarily, or is this a real thing? But it looked like a real thing, so they went down into a mine shaft.
I have a question. I've got a question. Do you know when they blew up the captain's place? What happened to all those planets that were shrunk? Wouldn't it cause a gravitational black hole or something?
Okay, this is what the doctor did as he explained it at the end. Hang on, we're in a little. There we go. Okay. He took the other planets and he shot them down into the center of Zanuck. They re-expanded to a point and filled up the center of the planet, forming a new core. He then Gallifrey that shot off into a time vortex, and that's why they had to go pick it up. So that's how they pulled that off.
That makes sense now. Thank you for that. Yeah.
I did like the start bit with K9 was just spinning out of control, and then the doctor's like, "Oh, what's got him?"
I'm guessing that's why there's a leftover scene that they show at the beginning of the next story. Where they're putting the segment away in their little box, right? Getting a scones of blood. And she's wearing the same costume.
Also, yeah, it's the doctor's little cupboard. Turns out it's an old refrigerator. Plus another. Huh?
I was just going to say when the doctor's asking K9 what the stones are or something, and K9 just makes an obvious remark saying that, and he asks K9 what colour amethyst, and he says purple, and he goes affirmative, and I found that quite funny because K9 was just uttering random stuff that people should know, and that was quite amusing. K9's very clever, but he just doesn't know when he's being obvious.
Yeah.
Also, another scary thing was the fact that they're down there in those caves, and Mary Tam's claustrophobic.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh.
Do you think they added that scream because she became quite claustrophobic? In the end of I can't remember which episode it is, but they meet what they're called, the psychic things again, whatever they're called. And she screams like very, very sharply towards the end. Do you think that might have been like recording her like in the cave, or will it have been her? Was she told to scream, or? Cause it sounded like she'd been trapped or something.
That's just the way she screamed. Because you remember in Power of Crow, she's not a very good screamer. She can't scream very well, so it's kind of hard to scream.
If you want screaming, call up Bunny Langford. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Oh.
I didn't know she was claustrophobic, but if she was claustrophobic, how was she handling those caves? I know she was scared.
They said that was it was one of the things they had a bit of a tough time with because, she literally, she soldiered up and she got through it. She literally conquered her fear just to do those scenes. Plus, they had one incident where a crew member became slightly oxygen deprived from being down in the caves for so long and began to hallucinate. And they had to have him carried out. Well, they had a hell of a time making this thing. Okay, let's go ahead, go around. Let's get everybody's ratings on it. Okay, out of 10, Matt Rose, Pirate Planet.
10 for it being the Douglas Adams script, good setting, and of course Tom Baker, Mary Tam, and John Leeson are great in the story. You should go and watch it if you haven't.
Okay, out of 10, William.
From the great acting of Tom Baker, Mary Tam, and all the cast, and the story being completely great from beginning to the end, I give it a 9.5.
All right, David Aston.
I would give this a 10 out of 10. It's a beginning of a new era, the end of the Graham Williams one, and the soon-to-be Douglas Adams era, and a totally different Doctor for the fourth Doctor. You know, his early days, or even the Leela years.
Okay, Phillip.
I would give this a 9 out of 10. It's an interesting thing with a vampire planet. So yeah, 9 out of 10.
Okay, Neo.
I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I love this better than the Rebos operation. Maybe there's more good stuff to come.
All right, Nightwing.
I'm going to give it a 10 because it moved smoothly throughout. Great acting from everybody. Rememberable scenes like the K9 versus the Parrot, and all the shouting, and it was great setting. It was explained. I enjoyed it more than I did the Rebos operation, so a 10 out of 10.
Okay, Elijah.
I'm gonna have to give this one a 9. It was a good episode.
All righty, and Texas Tim.
Yeah, I would give this one a 9 out of 10. I think the only thing that lets it down is just the time it was made in. But another, the pretty bad special effects and whatnot. But it's a lot of good ideas, a lot of good concepts. It's done very well by the actors. So yeah, I'd give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay, same here. I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. There was just a few things that they couldn't do. I agree with Tim because of the time it was shot in. But other than that, it was a great story, flowed really well, and nobody can doubt the genius of Douglas Adams. The guy just brought us so many great things in literature and so many great things on radio, television, whatnot. Gotta love him. Okay, so until next time, everyone, I'll go around getting farewells from everyone. Next time we're going to be doing The Stones of Blood, Chapter 3 in the Key to Time series. Earth-based adventure. Very well done. I said this is another great story. Okay, let's go around and get farewells from everyone. Let's start with Matt.
Goodbye, and just keep on hooing.
All right, Texas Tim.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. I can't wait till the Stones of Blood.
All right, Phillip.
Goodbye. I hope to see you again.
Okay, I'll get what the laughter's for later. Okay, William.
Thank you for having me here, and I can't wait to be on the next podcast of the Stones of Blood.
Okay, Elijah.
Thanks for having me. My first Omega Files podcast. Can't wait to be on some more.
All right, Neo.
Yep. Thanks for having me, and this is also my first time. Bye.
David Aston.
Yeah, join us for the Stones of Blood, which is a story I haven't seen for years and an interesting story. So, see you then. Until then, keep hooing. The bar's closed.
That's right. Join us next week because the Caliac awaits and those Ravens are watching. Okay, did I miss anybody? Good.
Me.
Oh,
No.
All right, who cares? All right, go ahead and say goodbye,
Yeah.
man.
Thank you for having me, and thank you to everybody. And also, even if I am working next week, I will probably watch Stones of Blood, even though if I am working, I would rather still watch it and, you know, have an opinion on it, even though I wasn't there. So, bye-bye.
Oh, sorry. Cheesy 70 sci-fi effects. Catch you all next week. Bye-bye.